What if I told you that the most powerful marketing tool you already have access to isn't social media, it isn't paid ads, and it's not even your website? Heck, some of you don't even have websites. Well, my guest today is going to reveal how she used this tool to fill venues across the country before social media even existed, and now uses it to create deep connections and consistent sales in her business. Stay tuned to discover this often overlooked but incredibly powerful marketing secret. What is up? What is up? What the hell is up, my Dark Horse friends and family? You know, in today's world of shiny marketing tools, ooh, look at this, ooh, look at that, and fancy automation, we often overlook one of the most powerful ways to connect with our audience. And that, my friends, is email marketing. But not just any email marketing. I'm talking about the kind that builds relationships, the kind that creates genuine connections, and of course, yes, drives consistent sales. Today, I'm excited to introduce to you Tonya Brody, a seasoned email marketing expert who started her journey collecting emails on paper, literally writing them down while she was touring with her Celtic band. She's gone from those humble beginnings to helping entrepreneurs craft email marketing strategies that convert, and that's where the magic is. What I love about Tonya is her focus on authentic connection versus those pushy sales tactics. Buy from me now, buy from me. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen them in your inbox. When most people think about email marketing today, they picture automated sequences and fancy sales funnels. But at its heart, email marketing is really just about something much more fundamental. It's about building real connections with real people. And no one understands this better than my guest today, Tonya Brody, who learned this lesson in a rather unique way, touring with a Celtic band. All right, Tonya, welcome to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur. So happy to have you here today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It was funny is I am a big fan of email marketing from way back. And when I say way back, I mean like way back into the 90s and what have you. And email marketing was, I think, a different animal back then. I'm not sure your age. I'm too polite a gentleman. I won't ask. But I know things have changed over just that long period of time, let alone just in the past few years. But before we travel down that road, let's give everyone kind of the Reader's Digest condensed version of Tonya Brody and kind of everything that brought you to where you are today and why you love doing what you do so much.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that history of email marketing because this weird lump behind me is actually a harp. And I was a professional touring musician for several years. I played with a Celtic band. I traveled all over the country playing music, and I collected email addresses on a piece of paper. And I had to get people to write down their name, their email address, and their zip code. And I was lucky if I could read it all. So that's how long I've been doing email marketing, is from when you could actually still send stuff from your account. That was like before ESPs were a required thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a long time. I was doing that in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I've been at this email marketing thing for a very long time.
Right.
And what I did with all of those email addresses was I told people when we were going to be playing and where we would be. Hey, we're going to be in your area at these places. But we also sent a monthly newsletter. We let people know about our new albums coming out. We let people know about all the merchandise we had. We told them funny stories from our tour. The whole point of that was to build community, to get people to show up to our shows. And because of that, we had people showing up to our shows regularly and bringing their friends, which was great for us. And that, to me, is what email marketing is really about. It's really about building a community. It's about letting people get to know who you are, what you do, and how you serve them. So that's why I've always loved doing email marketing, is because it's not as much about selling as it is about serving, to me. Selling is what you do when you get to the web page, right? You get to that landing page, whatever it is, that sales page. Email is much more about serving. It's explaining why this matters to someone. It's explaining how whatever it is will help that person reach their goals and attain their dreams, as opposed to, here, buy this thing.
Right. Yeah.
So that, to me, is the root of email marketing right there.
Well, what's funny is, as I was looking at my notes down here, and usually, and like I mentioned before we started, I hit record button. We're just having an organic conversation, but I always try to come a little bit prepared with at least 4 questions in case, we stumble, we bumble, we trip, we fall, we face plant. And if the conversation kind of goes way off, I can pull it back with one of these questions. And one of the questions I had here is, what is really the meaning of email marketing. What is email marketing? And damn, if you didn't just answer that question, probably about the best way I've heard in a long time, in that to me, and I agree with you 100%, it's about building a community just via a different vehicle, right? And if you've been doing it as long as I have, which you just admitted you have, uh, you understand that differently than I think a lot of the folks do nowadays. Everyone wants to build a WhatsApp or a Facebook group or their whatever social media channel they're trying to build upon, which is somebody else's property, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to say it like it is.
Right.
Meanwhile, Tonya and her Celtic music crew built something that belonged to them, and they were able to use that to communicate with their audience, telling stories. And no, don't get me wrong, ultimately selling things. And there's nothing. Here's the thing for me is I don't believe there's anything wrong with selling as long as I'm selling you something you will benefit from. I'm not being a sleazy salesman trying to get you to buy the next Kirby vacuum machine when you don't need it, right? This is just about, hey guys, we're going to be coming to your. Did you do the Renaissance festival circuits playing your Celtic music?
I did. Yeah,
Yeah,
many years before I was touring with the band, I was on the Renaissance Festival circuit as well.
yeah.
So yeah, so you may have
You can
seen
say,
me at
hey,
a Renaissance
yeah,
festival near you.
I'm going to be at this one
Yeah.
or I'm going to be at that one, and people are going, oh, I definitely have to go
Oh
see
yeah.
it and book it into their time because it's something they want. And when you're sending an email or any kind of communication about something I want, you're going to get me to pay attention. And then if you add in, like you said,
Well,
the cute little stories, then it's even better. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
right. And the whole point of an email list is that you have a bunch of people who have something who want what it is that you're selling,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
That is the point of your email list. Now, a lot of people, you were saying people create the WhatsApp and the Facebook group and all of that stuff. And I feel like those are great. Those are really, really useful. But as you say, A, you don't own those.
Hmm.
And B, there's a huge difference to me between those things. So to me, the difference between any form of social media, any platform you do not own, and an email list is one of them is like being on a dance floor in a crowded club, right?
Hmm.
There's all sorts of stuff going on around you. There's all sorts of stuff to distract you. And it's like having a conversation going, what? What did you say? Oh, yeah, that's really cool. And having someone come into your living room to share a cup of tea and a chat. That's
Mm,
what email marketing is,
right.
because you are literally coming into someone's inbox. They are giving you permission
Mm,
to enter their inbox because they're interested in what you have to say.
hmm.
Now, that's also true of Facebook groups and WhatsApps and what have you. But, I get invitations to WhatsApp groups
Yeah.
from people I have never heard of. I get that on Skype all the time. It's like, no, I'm not interested. But if I deliberately opt into your email list, it's because I want what you have.
Mm,
You have something I am interested in.
right.
Whatever that thing may be, if I've got, for me, if I've got a lead magnet out there and someone's like, oh yeah, that's really cool. That's something that will help me solve a problem.
Hmm.
Then that person is saying, you've got information that I want. I want to talk to you. Let's have a chat. That's a huge difference to me.
Yeah.
And that's how I really approach email is this is a conversation. Even if it feels like a one-sided conversation,
Right.
it's still a conversation between two people. And
Hmm.
you are there as an advisor, as that mentor, helping someone achieve whatever it is they want to achieve. And you have this thing, this magical thing that will help them achieve it. And yes, that's what you're selling, but ultimately your goal is to help them. My mentor, Ryan Levesque, always says, don't fall in love with your product, fall in love with the problem your product solves,
Yes. That's wisdom.
because that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
What is the thing that you're selling? How does that help the person on the other end? What is
Mhm.
that problem that you're solving for these people?
Nice. And even if that problem they're solving is just giving them a laugh, because I have engaged in conversations with folks that are like, well, I'm a stand-up comic. Well, dude, you really need an email list. But how do I engage them? Well, the same way you engage the audience when you're standing on that stage, you use your wit, you use your humor, and people they come to your stage for that wit and that humor. Use that same skill, that same benefit in your emails to keep them engaged long term. And oh, by the way, I'm going to be in a show near your town. Why don't you come see me? Right? Here's $50 off, whatever. You can give them a bonus on top of that. Here's one I want to go into. This is a question I hear a lot, and I'd like to hear your perspective. Whatever, mind you, that most of the folks that will be listening to this are entrepreneurial at heart. Maybe they haven't
Mhm.
started their entrepreneurial journey yet, but they definitely want to. And email marketing to me, and I believe it to you as well, is a core, is like this anchor thing that you have to get right. You at least have to do it. How do I start email marketing in my insert business here?
So there are two ways you can go about that.
Okay.
Number one is you can create a list of people you know
Mhm.
and or people who are already your customers if you're in that situation and start emailing them. You send an email out that says, hey, I'm starting this thing. You're already a customer or you're a friend of mine and I thought you'd like to know how to do this. And you send them an email and you make sure that you say there, if you don't want to receive these, if you never want to hear from me again because this doesn't interest you, click the unsubscribe button at the bottom of this email. You'll never hear from me again.
Right.
If you do want to hear from me, just hang out. I've got some interesting stuff to say.
Sure.
If you never buy from me, but you want to read these emails, that's totally fine. That's how I started my email list.
Mhm.
That this iteration of my email,
Sure.
I should say, my business email list for what I do now, copywriter. But that is a totally legitimate way to start an email list. Now, to grow that email list, or if you want to start totally from scratch, this way, what you do is you create something people want. That is that lead magnet, that opt-in bribe, freebie, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
The thing you give away in exchange for their email address, right?
Mhm.
So in my case, I have a list of 30 subject lines that will keep your subscribers opening and reading every email. If you go to my website, you'll see that pop up. It's like, here's the list, get it. And then you'll have something to write from. Because the most common complaint I hear from everyone, whenever I say, so do you have an email list? I don't, because I never know what to write. That is the most common complaint I hear, right? So, hey, look, here's a list of 30 subject lines and writing prompts to help you start writing to your subscribers. And you can reuse these over and over and over again. They're generic.
Mhm.
So you could literally go through that list and then start at the top and go through the list again if you wanted to. That's the point of that, is to give that to people so they get interested in writing those emails again, so that they're writing, so that they're like, I want to learn how to write emails better. I want to learn how to set up a better email funnel.
Mhm.
I want to know how to write a better welcome sequence, all of the stuff that goes with emails that I sell courses on.
Right.
That's the whole point of that, is I get people onto that list and then I'm sending them emails regularly about interesting things going on in email marketing, things that are relevant to AI, things that are relevant to whatever it is I am selling or doing that week. I send 2 emails a week. I
Okay.
send one on Tuesdays that usually directs people to a blog post of some sort,
Mhm.
right? And I send one on Thursdays that is always either what I call a sales email, in that it's got a soft sell at the end,
Mhm.
or it has a reply to of some sort. Hey, tell me what you think about. But it's always some sort of content piece, like a thought leadership piece, or a, hey, I heard about this the other day and I thought it would interest you type of piece. And to me, those, I call those my nurture emails. That is really what I'm all about, is sending those regular nurture emails so that you are top of mind when someone reaches that point when they're ready to buy. Because a lot of people create an email list and they're like, great, whenever I have something to sell, I can send an email to these
Right.
people. Well, yeah, you can, but if they don't remember who the heck you are because you didn't email them for 3 months, it's not going to do you any good.
Yeah. And then on the
They're
other
going to
side,
forget who the heck you are.
and on the other side of that, if every single email you're selling them is a pitch fest loaded email, they're certainly gonna go down to that unsubscribe and go click
Yeah.
with a vengeance, right?
Yeah.
And that's not the goal. And I think that comes back to and they're out there. We've all seen them. We've all been on the receiving end of those sleazier email marketers. But overall, and I've been engaged in a number of organizations that do a really good job at email marketing. I did one with a company. Here's one. Check this out. I was in charge of the marketing for a company that did catalogs and apparel for white-tailed deer hunters. Talk about a niche market. Not hunters,
Mhm.
big market. Not deer hunters, smaller market. White-tailed deer hunters. And for those that know out there, and I'm sorry for any non-hunters listening, that only covers the Rust Belt of the United States, kind of like Pennsylvania, down along Ohio and Michigan and up into Minnesota, and maybe some parts of Texas. Not everywhere in the United States, not everywhere in the world, a very small niche market. And they made as much money with their email marketing campaigns as they made sending out catalogs. Here's the question. Which one do you think was cheaper? Creating and printing a catalog
Email marketing.
or sending it exactly, sending an email. And
Yeah.
it was like it's the old adage you hear people say when they say buy my course, it's like printing money. Well, if you do it right, it really kind of is. I don't want to say that as a pitch,
Yeah.
but it's true. If you do it right and you get people on, like you said, that are interested in your stuff, be it music, comedy, whitetail deer hunting, whatever, and you send that email saying, oh, by the way, check out our new shirt. Well, a good percentage of them are going to go and check out your new shirt, and a percentage of them are going to say, oh, damn, I really like that. And they're going to buy. Now, did every single email
Right.
go out say buy something? No. It gave advice. It asked questions. It did the whole thing. It was promotional. There was transactional emails. There were educational emails. And of course, like you said, there were the nurturing emails. All right. So we covered the starting piece and we actually went even deeper than that part. And I think you kind of even touched on the making money. Like, how do I make money with email marketing? Are there some really basic no-nos that you need to make sure this audience hears when it comes to email marketing?
Well, you've already mentioned one of them, which is hard sell in every single email.
Mm,
I mean, if someone wants a hard sell in every single email, they've already bought your product. They're there.
right.
So they may unsubscribe because like, I already own that. It's all good. But a soft sell in every email, some sort of call to action is very, very important. And that call to action can be go to this blog post, go to this podcast, check out this article, reply to, or even check out this product. That's a soft sell of some sort, a call to action at the end of every email, because you literally want to train people to click on a link so that when you are doing that hard sell email, that sale at the end of the month or whatever it is that you're doing, people go, oh yeah, I want to go see what this is.
Right.
I trust this person. I'll check this out. But you want to train people to get used to seeing something beneficial to them at the other end of that link.
Mm,
So that is a do, is have a call to action in every single email. A don't is have the hard sell, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my
yeah.
stuff
Right.
at the end of in every single email, because people just get sick of that. It's that, think of it as the difference between that friend who, whenever you need help or advice, always shows up and has help and advice.
Hmm.
And then every once in a while goes, yeah, can you help me out with this? And that friend who's always asking for help. I need money. I need, can I borrow your car? Whatever it is.
Hmm.
Which one do you want to hang out with?
Yeah. No, that's a
Right?
good point.
More people want to hang out with the friend that actually helps them,
Yeah.
as opposed to the friend who just only asks for help. They just take, and never give. So it's really about giving. It's help, 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 sell. How much can you help someone before you say, and go buy this thing?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Another thing is there are actually lists of words out there, and you can find them, usually spam words list or email no-no lists, that you should not be using in your emails because they will get caught by the spam filters. I actually have a couple of blog posts about this on my website. Believe it or not, a big one is free,
Yes.
which is really hard.
Yeah,
You're trying
it
to
is.
give people something, genuinely want to give someone something.
Hmm.
Obviously, nothing about sex. That one's easy.
Yeah.
But also money is really hard. I write for an accountant. Can I
Mm,
tell you how hard it is not to talk about money
yeah, no doubt.
in emails from an accountant?
Yeah.
That's really hard. So it's you have to think about the language that you're using. Now, obviously, Google's gotten better, or
Mhm.
I should say, all of the spam filters have gotten better about recognizing, okay, this is legitimate content, as opposed to this person is trying to spam.
Right.
But the problem is that there are so many businesses out there that don't recognize that their emails aren't getting through because they're getting caught in the spam filters, because they're using innocuous words that you don't think about.
Hmm.
So I recommend going out and finding some of those no-no lists to figure out, oh my gosh, are we using these? And I also strongly recommend using synonyms for things like, if you're free, how many ways can you say free? Complimentary,
Yep.
gratis,
Gratis, I like that one.
gift to you. Those are all ways that you can stay free without actually using FREE in your
Right.
email. So you can say those things. You just have to find the alternative way to say it that isn't going to set off the spam filters.
Sure.
And then other big no-nos is not sending to people that you don't know. Buying email lists. Oh
Mm,
my God,
yes.
please don't buy
I'm
email
guilty.
lists.
Guilty.
I am working with a company right now. They bought a list. and we're in Google jail. It's
Mhm.
terrible. It's absolutely terrible. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And I know there are all these people out there saying, oh, we have lists of all of these people, and do you want to buy them? And they're all legitimate people who are looking for whatever it is that you sell. Well, you know what? Unless you have their permission to email them, they don't want to hear from you,
Yes.
and they will mark you as spam. I do it on a
Yeah.
regular basis when I get that stuff. I mark stuff as spam all the time
Me too.
because I don't want that in my inbox. Do not intrude on me like that. That's rude.
Yeah.
So seriously, grow your email list organically. Yes, it's going to take you longer.
Mm-hmm.
But when you consider, and this is back to something you said earlier about email being profitable, when you consider that for every dollar you put into email, you get anywhere from $34 to $40 back
Mm-hmm.
in return on investment, it's worth taking the time to grow your own legitimate email list.
It is.
And the other thing to do, I would, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, you don't need this massive, ginormous, that's an official word, by the way, list of thousands and thousands of people to be profitable as a real business. I mean, you can do it with 100, 200, 250 folks that are really interested in what it is you have to offer because they're saying, ooh, I like what Tanya's saying there, and I would like some of that. And they raise their hand, they listen, they read, and then when they're ready, this is the key point, Tanya said it earlier, when they are ready, they'll push the buy button or they'll reach out to you because you were top of mind because of all the education that you shared. And this is another one, and I know she knows this. When her in her emails, she was putting those links in there, those call to actions to help train her readers, sending them to a blog post. Now, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? She can also retarget those folks from the visitors of her blog post so that she shows up elsewhere as well outside of the emails. I mean, this whole thing begins to become this web of servepreneurship, huh? This giving that she was talking about that you can keep doing across multiple platforms this way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Well said. And the other thing is, you may not want to put that link to your product or service in that email, but you can put it at the end of that blog post.
Mm-hmm.
So people are getting a whole bunch of information, and then it takes them to that place you want them to get to anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they're getting something useful in return.
Yeah.
And there is something about that exchange of I am giving you something that makes people want to give you something back in the shape of purchasing whatever it is that you're selling.
Yeah. That law of reciprocity comes into play.
This person gone to the trouble, taking the time to tell me what it is that I need to know. I trust them. I know them. I am going to buy from them. We all buy from people we know, like, and trust, right?
Right.
And I think that's the other thing that email does really well is it lets people get to know you. So that's something I always say to people is like, I don't know what to write. Fine, be yourself, right? Do all of the silly things that you do. I am a cat owner. Pictures of my cats show up in my emails all the time. I am a total geek. I talk about Star Wars. I talk about Marvel movies. I talk about science fiction. I literally wrote about an NPR article I heard yesterday about Chinese AI avatars. Chinese, literally, Chinese AI is taking, like people are making avatars of themselves to use in video. And it's like the robots are taking over. That's what I wrote about in my email yesterday, because it was a way that I could get into what I wanted to talk about, which is AI,
right,
in that particular email.
Mm-hmm.
So find the things that interest you, because if they interest you, they're probably going to interest other people,
100%.
right? Oh my gosh, Chinese robots are taking over the world. What? That's a great subject line. I'm
No
going to
doubt.
open that. I want to find out what she's talking about. So be yourself. Be the person who people would meet if they walked into your shop, whether your shop is physical or virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Be that person because you want to be genuine. You want to be authentic. And that, by the way, is a huge tip in the AI world, is being authentic, being you.
Yes.
Because even though the Chinese are trying really hard, they're not going to be able to replicate you and what it is that you do. There's always going to need to be some human element in everything that we do, because we all want to relate to each other, not to the robots.
Yes.
As an example.
Yeah. And actually, the more we try to relate to the robots, the more we end up missing the relations between ourselves. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
exactly.
You
just want to be you.
So be authentic, be yourself. And I think that you're going to find it's easier to write, first of all. If you don't feel like you have to craft this perfect, beautiful well-researched thing every week and you can just be you and write about what you want to write about, that's going to be easier. A.
Mhm.
And B, going to come across as that friendly person people want to hear from every week. They're going to look forward to reading your emails because, oh my gosh, it's from Tracy. He's always funny. I'm going to enjoy this. This is going to be great. He's always got something interesting to say. I appreciate what he says. I'm going to learn something. That's going to help me right now in my business. That's what you want to be. You want to be that person that someone turns to when they need help. And then you have this thing that will genuinely help them. That's the whole
Nice.
point.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Words to the wise. Be helpful. And this is you. If you've listened to more than 2 episodes of this podcast, you know I say what she just said. Be you. Be authentic. Just let it out. Let your zaniness shine. Tonya, I want to be mindful of your time. And I could probably dig around in this email melange for hours. You have an offer for our audience, yes, don't you?
I do. You can, in fact, download that list of 30 subject lines
Yeah.
to keep your subscribers opening and reading every email. And go right to my website. You'll find it pop up right there on the site, Tonya Brody Copywriter, all one word.com. And obviously Tracy will link to that in his show notes.
You got it. I
But
was just
yeah,
going to say
go
that.
to my website. Check out the blog post there. Check out the blog posts. Obviously, subscribe to my emails because you'll find out what I do so you can model that yourself.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Tanya, thank you so much for hanging out with us and dropping these email bombs. I will definitely, like you said, I'll make sure to link you down in the show notes to the Tanya Brody copywriter.com as well as some of your socials. So everyone can go check you out and learn more about your email copywriting journey. And maybe, man, I'll probably do it myself for that. Like, I always like learning these cool tricks from those that are doing it as long as I have. Tanya, once again, thank you so much for joining us. I definitely appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Tracy. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.